She invited her ex-husband to see how rich and handsome her husband is. An intriguing tale of love, ambition, and self-discovery set against Lagos high society. She invited her ex-husband weaves opulence, closure, and unexpected revelations into an unforgettable story. But before we dive into the story, share where you're watching from and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss other meaningful stories. In the bustling city of Lagos, where the roar of traffic mingles with the chatter of roadside vendors, Nkechi lived a life many women envied. She was married to Chuka, a business tycoon with a jawline as sharp as his suit and a bank account to match his charm. Chuka's wealth and good looks were the kind that made heads turn at every gala, and Nkechi loved every moment of being his wife. But Nkechi's current happiness was tinged with memories of her past. Before Chuka, there had been Jide, her first love. They had met in a dusty classroom at the University of Ibadan, where Jide's big dreams had been enough to sweep Nkechi off her feet. But dreams couldn't pay bills, and after 3 years of struggling through Jide's endless sooner promises, Nkechi had filed for divorce. She left with nothing but her dignity and an unshakable determination to never settle for less again. Fast forward 5 years, and Nkechi had transformed her life. Now, she lived in a mansion in Ikoyi, wore designer clothes, and dined at exclusive restaurants. Still, a part of her wanted to show Jide what he had missed out on. She wanted him to see the life she now lived, the man she now called her husband. It wasn't just about revenge, it was about closure. Nkechi's opportunity came one sunny Saturday afternoon. She and Chuka were hosting a lavish housewarming party to celebrate their newly acquired beachfront property in Lekki. The guest list was a who's who of Lagos society, from politicians to celebrities. But amidst the glittering crowd, one name stood out: Jide. Nkechi had sent him a formal invitation through a mutual friend. She wasn't sure he'd come, but she hoped he would. The day of the party arrived, and the mansion was a spectacle. White marquees adorned the sprawling lawn, tables were draped in gold satin, and a live band played soft Afrobeat tunes. Servers in crisp uniforms moved through the crowd with trays of champagne and finger foods. Chuka, in his tailored agbada, was the epitome of grace and affluence, mingling effortlessly with guests. Nkechi stood by the grand staircase, a vision in a flowing emerald gown that hugged her curves. Her diamond necklace sparkled under the chandelier, and her makeup was flawless. She was the perfect hostess, but her eyes kept darting to the gate, waiting. Then he arrived. Jide stepped onto the property, looking slightly out of place in his simple but neatly pressed Ankara outfit. He had aged, his once boyish face now carrying the weight of years. Yet, there was a quiet confidence in his demeanor that hadn't been there before. As he approached, Nkechi's heart skipped a beat, not from love, but from the rush of the moment she had been waiting for. "Jide," she said, her voice laced with calculated warmth. "You made it." "Nkechi," he replied, smiling faintly. "Thank you for inviting me." Before she could respond, Chuka appeared beside her, his hand possessively resting on her waist. "Oh, you must be Jide," Chuka said, his baritone voice dripping with charm. "Nkechi's told me about you. Welcome to our home." Jide's eyes flickered, but he extended his hand. "Thank you. You have a beautiful place." "Thank you," Chuka replied, flashing a smile that could sell luxury cars. "Please, enjoy yourself. Nkechi will show you around." As Chuka walked away to greet another guest, Nkechi turned to Jide. "Let me give you the tour," she said, leading him inside. The house was a masterpiece of modern architecture, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering panoramic views of the Atlantic Ocean. Nkechi made sure to highlight every expensive detail: the imported Italian marble, the custom-made chandeliers, the state-of-the-art kitchen. Jide listened politely, his expression unreadable. When they reached the balcony, where the ocean breeze carried the scent of salt and freedom, he finally spoke. "You've done well for yourself, Nkechi," he said, his voice calm but sincere. "I'm happy for you." His words caught her off guard. She had expected jealousy, perhaps even bitterness. Instead, there was only peace. "Thank you," she replied, masking her surprise. "And you? How have you been?" Jide chuckled softly. "I've been good. I run my own tech startup now. It's not on Chuka's level, of course, but we're growing." Nkechi's eyes widened. She had assumed Jide would still be the same struggling dreamer she had left behind. But there was something different about him now, a quiet self-assurance that didn't need validation. The rest of the party passed in a blur. Jide mingled with the guests, his easy charm making him surprisingly popular. Nkechi watched from a distance, torn between pride and a strange sense of unease. For all her efforts to flaunt her new life, it seemed Jide didn't need reminding of what he had lost. He had found his own path. As the evening wound down and the guests began to leave, Jide approached Nkechi one last time. "Thank you for inviting me," he said. "You've built a beautiful life, Nkechi. I'm glad you're happy." Before she could respond, he added with a smile, "And tell Chuka he's a lucky man." Then he walked away, leaving Nkechi standing on the grand staircase, her emerald gown shimmering under the lights. For the first time that day, she felt a pound of something she couldn't quite name. It wasn't regret, but it wasn't triumph either. As Chuka came to her side, wrapping an arm around her shoulders, Nkechi smiled and leaned into him. She had everything she had ever wanted, but in the quiet of that moment, she realized something profound. True wealth wasn't just about riches or appearances. It was about contentment, the kind Jide seemed to carry effortlessly. And as they watched the last of the guests depart, Nkechi silently resolved to cherish the life she had built, not to prove anything to anyone, but because it was hers. The end. Able Etswell fans, thank you for watching. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell for more exciting stories. See you in the next video.